everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today, well, it's Tuesday, and basically I'm going to once again put in a long-ish run, and in a way, well, it's basically so I can be a little bit self-assured that when it comes time to take on my marathon effort, that I'll be able to do it without imminent failure. However, what most people aren't really grasping when I share this is that I'm trying desperately to recover my health. And I've been struggling with a lot of different things trying to get there. Blood pressure, weight, sleep problems. Last night I must have waken up about 15 times. And partly, sometimes I wonder if it's not because I'm sharing some of this insight here and then receiving energy that doesn't quite match up. And by that, what I mean is I've got a lot of friends and family on this channel, and I've blocked a few people from being able to have their posts seen by anyone on this channel. But for some reason, those people have just been my own direct family. In my own direct family, I've asked for prayers and assistance when it comes to achieving this accomplishment, but instead I've been met with ridicule and setbacks that cause me to really struggle to achieve what I'm trying to achieve. And that is not really their fault. That's just basically the way things have happened timing wise. And also maybe they're unable to hear what's being said because they might be spiritually compromised. Just as one example, one of my direct family members has a sibling who used to be able to communicate, and especially when it came to communicating about spiritual aspects. But for some reason, now anytime we talk about certain things, the only thing that I'm faced with is judgment. Like, for an example, the name of this channel, just in case you haven't noticed, is called Spiritual Devil. And I started thinking about, what if there was a concept where the devil themselves, for some reason, really loathed all of the way that the world had turned out? Because the devil, I understand in the stories, might have been a hostile and terrible being, But what if throughout all of those years, eons, lifetimes of terror and despair and hostility, somehow the devil learned that they were in the wrong, that they needed to correct what it was that was going on in order to make amends. And so I called the channel that you're watching Spiritual Devil, because I thought, what an interesting concept, the aspect about forgiveness, people can change, this, that, and the other. And of course, some of the thoughts are interwoven with fiction because, we really don't know. First of all, was there a devil? Well, I know that I'm faced with good and bad on a regular basis, but when I talk about good and the well-being that we can leverage for our own selves, I'm oftentimes met with direct apprehension, ridicule, and hostility. And you can see that in some of the responses on this channel. And you can see in why I'm multitasking, how I'm trying to basically just do these basic things every day. Some people can do this regularly and they're already healthy enough to run for, a whole mile in 5-10 minutes. I'm not really at that point yet where I'm able to do that and have my blood pressure be what most people would call reasonable. Instead, I've basically faced an imbalance. And that imbalance, sometimes when I boil it down to the minutia of it, again, there's a lot of lack of participation in what I thought would be support in the past. And so, yeah, my health might seem to be getting better based on what I'm doing, but I can tell you, I'm not sleeping well all the time. My weight is doing unusual things, and I've basically still continued to limit the things that I'm eating for quite some time, if I eat at all. And so nutritionally, I know that something is working because I'm able to accomplish these distances without cramps. But for some reason, I keep getting these weird one-offs. A specific blister on a specific toe, for an example. Things that in the past I might have just overlooked as something that wasn't related to anything. And in the current, sometimes I wonder if any of the people in my circles might be practitioners of black magic. And I wonder those things aloud because, well, I'm asking questions on this channel in case anyone else is going through unusual circumstances or has gone through unusual circumstances that they've been able to resolve, so that I could receive some insight, some correspondence, some conversation with other people who have gone through spiritual circumstances as well. Not many people will admit to even believing in any kind of spiritual circumstances. Not many people will even acknowledge any kind of higher power, and not many people will opt to connect in person with one another. Instead, they'll just click on the like when they see what I say, and that's that, I've been struggling. Thumbs up. A lot of people do that. When I say financially I'm being devastated, thumbs up. People do that. When I say my artwork has been covered up and nobody has paid me or compensated me for the things that have been used, thumbs up. People will thumbs up on that. And then the conversation will go in all of these directions that say that essentially I myself am to blame. Well, this might be true, that I myself am to blame for all of my health woes, all of these ailments, and all of that, monetary aspects and everything. And at the same time, I just want to say that in this nation, we're really dependent on our fathers in order to receive the blessings that are necessary in order to accomplish things, unless we were bought out, unless we were independently wealthy. And some of us have had our very own family robbed from us. Just as an example, I used to have a father that I could speak with. He's still alive, but I don't know for how much longer he'll be alive. I used to have family that would help all of us to interact, mothers usually. But my own father's sisters have shunned me and have turned my father in a way where he doesn't know who to trust. And so oftentimes he'll say, that's not my problem. I can't help you with that. And basically he'll get agitated at the truth. A lot of people here on this channel get agitated at the truth. You can see it by the thumbs down, by the comments. Sometimes you can't see the comments though, because those have been filtered out so that none of us can see them. All we can see is that I'm putting in the time and effort and I'm doing everything I can with the only thing that I know how to do anything with, my own self. So the more I have to spend 3 to 5 hours per day doing something, in addition to when I used to go to the gym at the same time on the same days, in addition to all of those things, and then having the ability to go to the gym taken away, after all of those things, and despite all of those challenges, I'm going to continue to try to do what I can with the limited capabilities that I have. I can't even really do a full push-up or a full pull-up. My strength has been compromised in ways where from the start, nutritionally, I was fed junk food. That was something that was basically a staple of all of my nutrients growing up as a child, because, well, people don't have time to do things, to cook homemade meals unless they're independently wealthy. And so what I got was basically fast food and canned foods and things that had high levels of sodium, high levels of processing. A lot of our people in this nation are the same. We feel like as if we have all of the food and all of the wealth available to us to do all of these things. But when we look at other people, we might see different people are making different choices. And the people who are making choices to go towards their health are often the ones who are having opportunities to even communicate removed from them. So, health-wise, yeah, I'd like to think I'm making some progress. Wealth-wise, well, I've lost a lot of family. And the interesting thing is, not all of those who I've lost are even gone. They're just not able to communicate. So I know I've got some cousins on here who would probably respond if they knew what it was that I was saying, what I was talking about, because maybe they too have faced certain circumstances with their own with their own heritage, with their elders. So a lot of elders, to me, come across as liars. I have one elder who tells me all the time, I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. And every so often they'll slip up and say, I shared this on Facebook, or I saw this on Facebook. And the only reason they say that is because it's a monkey see, monkey do type environment. I've said for a long time that I'm not on Facebook. I haven't been on Facebook for a long time. That was an interesting experiment that basically a lot of our elders are on, just like on this platform, where a lot of people seem to be older, have a lot of time to communicate with someone who they don't even really know, possibly. The truth is, I know that everyone who's reaching out knows me in some way or another. And even when you don't know me, fact is, we can learn about each other in this medium as well. We can see when we look into each other's eyes what we're talking with, and whether we're speaking the truth or whether we're just fabricating everything. So on that note, I want to say we're coming up on yet another nationally celebrated holiday that in itself is atrocious. However, in the past, when my family had grandparents, we would get together. In the past, when we stopped getting together in that way, I invited friends and distant family who basically chose not to ever show up, chose not to ever engage in these rituals. So a lot of us are going to practice the rituals, and do all that we can to avoid seeing one another during these time frames. I had one person say that they were going to go probably to hang out with neighbors for this upcoming holiday, never once having invited their own family. So all of these different things are truths, and some people just won't see it or won't hear it, and they'll try to make an excuse in the form of whatever they're best capable of trying to alleviate a situation with, until they decide that it's not worth it anymore. And at that point in time, they'll pull the carpet out from under you and say, good luck. But the truth is, I've got better luck without backstabbers in my midst. And so on that note, I put all of those thoughts into every step that goes into this. And every step sometimes is extremely painful. In this case, it's every other step, because it's usually just one foot that gets injured in these specific ways. But every step is moving towards trying to reignite the conversation. And the conversation, when it can't happen honestly under the veils of this anonymity, has to be brought face to face. So again, I invite you to speak with me face to face the same way that you would dare communicate with me on this channel. And if you would like to participate in a way where we all succeed, I hope that that actually happens. Because in some of these instances, a really deep, full conversation is necessary. We had people over for the holidays last year, but it wasn't for the traditional holidays. It was because the other people who showed up had the same circumstance where family just doesn't seem to recognize getting together for the holidays anymore, not since the era of the grandparents. And in that instance, people left confused and angry about this same conversation that I was having, saying, health is wealth. Mental, spiritual, physical, emotional, it's all interwoven, and it all can be reflected in a myriad of ways. But there are family aspects that factor into certain things whenever those ties have not been completely severed. So one of the other things I want to mention on this channel, in case anyone listening has any insight, is that I remember with one of my direct parents being at a place called a curandera, a witch doctor, where they pulled beating hearts out of rabbits and performed rituals using eggs and all kinds of chants. During that time frame, for whatever reason, that direct relative claims to not understand what they requested or what was spoken. They don't even remember the rabbits being sacrificed, but I do. And I'm telling the truth because, again, this happened. And these things that happened are things that are still in practice and seem to have taken the wool and put it over the eyes of some of these direct relatives so that they can't even speak the truth anymore for some reason. It's a shame. Speaking the truth is highly important when it comes to going through the levels of spirituality. Operating under the truth is highly encourageable when it comes to having good results in our work. And for some reason, a lot of the work that we're having around us happen is inaccurate, misdirected, misinterpreted. And some of that is just because we wouldn't even go so far as to wave to one another on the trails. Even if someone else said, hey, how's it going? I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're having a great day. It's a beautiful day to be out walking. It's a beautiful day to be in the sun. It's a beautiful day to hang out with one another. It's a beautiful day to remember the stories. As ritualistic as they are, there is a message that can be understood if only we can open our hearts enough to hear. So here's to that open heart. Let's call it surgery that doesn't really require loss of blood or the cracking open of one's chest. Here's to miraculous knee recoveries for the people who had ailing knees. Here's to having our legs healed instead of having to go and get injections for varicose veins. Here's to actually having the strength to pick up a 5-pound dumbbell, kettlebell, book, purse, or anything. And here's having the stability so we can walk around without falling on ourselves and bringing other people down with us. Here's to being able to lift one another up. So, yeah, this might sound a little bit tough and a little bit coming from a place of struggle. But again, this hasn't been easy for me. Hope that makes sense. Until next time, peace, love, and all that old school stuff.